Hey everybody, it's Greg here. Just wanted to give you a quick programming note. This is one of our lost episodes from back when we were doing the show live on Twitch with the Pack Theater. We had a lot of fun doing it. We had Nikki Urban on as our guest, and she is lovely. Part of the reason we held it back is because, guys, you may be shocked to hear this. We experienced some technical difficulties while broadcasting live on the internet. We lost basically our introduction and part of the first ship intro. So I assure you, it is not a big deal. I promise you this. You will dive in very quickly, but just wanted to give you guys a heads up. We didn't want to punish Nikki because of our goof and not release the episode at some point, so we figured now was as good a point as any. Anywho, now you can join us live in progress in the episode, or it was live at some point, I guess. I don't know, guys. We're trying our best here. This first ship is Hobbes from Calvin and Hobbes, and Tigger from the Winnie the Pooh series. We had just discussed that because of the popularity of Tiger King, tigers are now in a anonymous support group where they can support each other during their newfound, refound celebrity, and that's where these two started talking. So anyways, thank you guys so much for your patience, and we'll be back to normal next episode. All right, you have a good one. Bye.
But there's a meeting of all of the tigers. And Tigger's got ADHD. We all know it. He's bouncing around the walls. But do these two connect? Is there something from the philosophical Hobbes that really connects to the excitable the excitable Tigger?
The anarchist Tigger.
Yeah, I think Hobbes is looking at Tigger bouncing around, and it's like, not just like more than a kindred spirit. Like, I'm sure he sees somebody that's like, well, this man is free. This tiger is free. Like, I can try to be free, but I will never be that free. And so I think, he goes up to him, asks for his number.
Yeah, give me the digits from the 100-acre wood. What's your area code? I can see that for sure. Because Hobbes would have that. He's probably going into this meeting like, well, certainly there's not going to be another tiger as wild and out as I am. And then he just sees this bolt of lightning, this orange and black ADHD mess at the back of the room. It's like, oh man, I thought I had this whimsical thing on lockdown, but I need to take pointers from this guy. And maybe that's it. It's like, there is that attraction, but I think Hobbes is rationalizing it of just like, no, I just want to learn more about being whimsical like you. I think I need to up my whimsy game.
Oh man, that's like me and all the crushes I have on women in comedy.
Yeah, it's just,
oh yeah, I just want to be like you. That's it.
So I can see this. Then Hobbes is like getting into the little red wagon and like positioning it just so that he's gonna ramp into the 100-acre wood. Like, wagon crashes down, lands in front of Tigger's house, and then Hobbes is trying to play it casual, like, oh, I was just in the neighborhood. Tigger, fancy seeing you here. But you want to hang out? No big deal. I just happened to drop by.
Well, I want to know, what's Tigger's take on this? Like, how does he feel?
That's a good point. Zach, you got any thoughts on this one?
How does Tigger feel? I mean, I think he likes that Hobbes is such an interesting guy. Like, Hobbes has a lot going on upstairs. And that's, I think that, like, look, if you look at the Winnie the Pooh's stories, Tigger is maybe not the brightest crayon in the box, but he absolutely loves when his friends are helpful and when they know something and can teach him something. So I think Hobbes, after having discussed like Kantian philosophy with Calvin so many times over the years, has a lot to teach Tigger, right? Like this is that professor-student vibe of a relationship.
That is hot. Yeah, Tigger does, no disrespect to the 100 Acre Wood Crew, but they are really all dullards. Like, none of them are very bright.
Owl.
Even Owl is like, you know, a pseudo-intellectual at best. He read all the cliff notes of a couple of works and now, like, preaches and acts smart.
There's something to be said for, like, how Hobbes, like, you know, Hobbes is, like, a planner. Like, he can, like, he's, like, a big picture guy. Like, he's, you know, finding all the, like, details to, like, make a plan to do a thing, right? And so I'm sure for Tigger, who's, like, all over the place, like, that's attractive. Intelligence-wise, it's like, oh, wow, like, this person can help me get my life together.
Hobbes manages to get Tigger's electricity turned back on. He's just like, Jesus Christ, you set up a bank account in my name? I need you.
But I do think that
this.
there is something like Hobbes still likes to play. Like he's not an adult all the time. So like there is like these two would have a lot of fun together, right?
Yeah, it's sort of like Cam and the other guy from Modern Family.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I can see that there's one who's like super silly and theatrical, which is Tigger, and then there's one who's very like, I'm the businessy business one, which, to be fair, like, yeah, it is a very yin and yang sort of situation. They both have a little bit of that anarchist, flair to them, that childhood imagination that unites them. But like,
just
they
like
need each
that,
other.
just like that couple on Modern Family, they do break out and have fun together and get silly and weird and stuff all the time. Like sometimes it maybe takes a little bit more of a push, but they get there.
What's their sex like?
Thank you for asking the question that everyone really wants to know the answer to. And just because I love asking these questions in their full, like a reality show producer would ask you to say them. What is Tigger and Hobbes' sex life like?
Yeah, animals, baby. Like, I think they really go back into that sort of like primal state. It's the sort of thing that would be shocking. Much like the Modern Family analogy, where it's like, oh, this is fun and cute. And then if you were to ever see them behind closed doors, it's like, they are so intense. This is filthy. They are doing unspeakable things to one another.
I mean,
I haven't really thought about the Modern Family people like that.
I mean, here's the thing. The wonderful thing about Tiggers, that Tiggers have throbbing things. They're pounding. Boom.
Dude, he bounces everywhere. He's got a like natural built-in elasticity to himself. He is going to be a machine in the bedroom. I would wonder Hobbes' relationship, if he is, we've talked about like bossy bottoms before, but I think it's just Hobbes is like it's very freeing for him, right? To just like surrender. Because he's always so in his own head about everything. Yeah. To just be like, listen, I want something that is not subjected to the rules of like logic or decorum or anything. I just want Tigger's sexuality to wash over me like an anarchist blanket.
Do you think they bring other people into it, or are they pretty like into each other?
Ooh, I'm going to say they go the Dan Savage route of like they date exclusively for a while. But eventually, again, Hobbes is an intellectual. He's like, let's see if we can open this up a little bit. Like, let's really push our boundaries. And then they dig out that like old Zoom call list. They're like, wait, who else was on that call? Tony the Tiger.
Oh no, they just start bringing in all the other tigers.
Everyone on that Zoom call is just like, have you been getting like really overly friendly DMs from Tigger and Hobbes? Like they seem to be circling something, but not asking outright.
Oh no, they're trying to throw. They're trying to throw like key parties. Oh God. But I don't know if that like works out. I think they like try that once and it goes horribly.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
like I think that's like a Hobbes trying to fix the relationship after they've been together for a number of years. And he's like, we should try experimenting with like other tigers. And Tigger's just like game. But I think Hobbes gets like a little bit jealous at it, and he's like, look, and like afterwards he's like, look, I know that in theory it's just sex, but you have to acknowledge your own feelings. That's being a true adult, and being truly mature is acknowledging that like maybe you're jealous when you and you don't want your lover humping some other tiger. And he like brings it to a 3-panel arc.
Nikki, what do you think? Are they emotionally mature enough for this?
Oh goodness. I think for all of like Hobbes's bluster of like, his like intellectualism, I think at the end of the day, it's probably really hard for him to express his feelings. So I'm not entirely sure he would even get to that point.
Right. That's fair.
I think he'd just like maybe sweep it under the rug. All of the emotions.
Much like all the problems that he's created, it's just like, let's try to hide this from the rest of the world.
Right. That would be, he's done so much good.
Well, problems in the sense of like general messes that he's created for Calvin's parents. You know what I mean? I don't know. So Zach, I don't know. Have we reached the end?
I think. Well, we got to ask one question before we move on to our next ship, and that is simply: do we ship it? Do we want this one? Do we want it? Do we want Tigger and Hobbes in a relationship? Nikki, as our guest, I'll give the first call to you. Do you ship it?
Yes, I ship it. I feel like it's a very real relationship. And at first, I think I was a little dubious. I was like, I don't know, they're too similar. It would never work out. But now kind of really exploring it, I'm definitely for this. I feel like they probably balance each other out while still sharing some of the same similar goals. And I think it's a long-lasting relationship. I think it's a till the end of time.
Yeah, I had a very similar thought process where I was like, they're tigers, but what else is there? But now that I'm seeing it play out, yeah, I'm all for it. And mostly I just think that they would absolutely destroy each other in the bedroom, which is very appealing on a certain level. Yeah, I want Tigger to get it. Like, I think that he has a lot of pent-up energy, and I think that he needs a release of some sort every now and again, and I think that would be a good thing for him.
I mean, I'll ask you this, because I ship it too. But as we wrap up here, I'm realizing there's one more question that we have to ask, and we're sort of asking like, who's on top with this? But really, who is the Tiger King?
Jesus,
I have no regrets.
I think they're switch hitters. They're switch hitters.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think they mix it up.
They're playful enough. They both have the imagination of like, hey, I can see how this would go. Yeah, it's, cops and robbers. Like, I'm cops this time, you're robbers this time, and then you mess with the formula.
Yeah, I think naturally though they like go into like Hobbes being sort of like the dominating one.
Mm-hmm.
I could totally see that. I could totally see him like, you know, like Tigger's always pinning people down. I could totally see Hobbes just being like, no, fuck you, I'm pinning.
Oh shit! I never even thought about that. That's Tigger's standard greeting. It's just pinning someone down. Very hot. Yeah. And also, Hobbes is the only one who has the wherewithal to plan anything. He's like, no, this is how it's gonna go.
Yeah, I think that's gonna answer our questions for Tigger and Hobbes. But we got to move on to our second ship of the night, and this one.
The quarantine special.
This one was another one we were just like, this is perfect for right now, because these two have just been like squirreled away by themselves. Of course, I'm talking about Lord of the Rings' Gollum, and from the classic literature Great Expectations, Miss Havisham. And you need to get that like little like regal inflection on there when you say Miss Havisham.
Yeah. So for those of you who aren't up on your classic middle school literature,
or maybe you just
quick,
like didn't do the homework assignment back in 8th grade. I don't know anybody who.
Yeah. So Miss Havisham from Great Expectations, she is, according to Wikipedia, a wealthy spinster. Basically, she was left at the altar by her would-be lover and went super crazy as a result and decided to spend the rest of her days in her mansion, just cooped up in a wedding dress, launching an elaborate plan to adopt a young woman and then subsequently break a child's heart by making him fall in love with her. Extremely convoluted, but I have to respect the long game that this woman was playing.
She's the anti-shipper.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. She's this podcast nemesis.
But today we're going to try to find her love, and that love is at the deep, dark bottom of a cave in Middle-earth. What do you guys think about these two? Like, just like the last one, I see the aesthetic similarity, but what do you think?
Right. It's hard because like they're both sort of have been hermits for a long time. Maybe like they lack social skills, and they both treat objects with too much importance. Like for her wedding dress, her wedding cake that has been sitting there since the day she got jilted. Him, the ring, obviously, his precious.
Yeah, he would definitely respect that, if nothing else. You know, he's like, you've been keeping this together for so many years. I see it. I do think it presents a huge logic issue in that, what is the meet cute here? Because if neither of them are leaving, it's pretty hard to get a giant Victorian mansion into a fantasy realm cave filled with goblins. So, are these guys? Is this like
you beat me to it. I was gonna say this is they meet on Litinder, which is the literature Tinder.
Yes.
So Litinder. Okay. And they just like they see somebody who also knows what it is to maybe it's I think Havisham she sees Gollum's profile and it's just like all about like my precious and like she's like he gets it. He gets what this he gets what obsession is like and just like swipes right, they match and they start messaging. I'm not sure about what. I'm not
I mean, probably about rings.
Oh, you're so
shit.
right.
That's going to be a huge point of contention immediately.
All she wanted was a wedding ring, and here he got.
Oh my God, her profile was, if you love it, you better keep a ring on it. And Gollum's just like, the ring? Do you have the ring? And he just like, he's like swipe. He swipes. He mega swipes or super swipes or whatever the hell the.
Yeah, they both upgrade to premium just so that they can mega like each other. I do like the idea that Gollum's profile is just like 7 different photos of the ring and nothing else.
Yes, she's like, oh, this person wants to commit.
That's great. That's perfect.
Yeah, he's ready to settle down.
I don't know.
So these two
God.
hit it off, but
So
are they just having Zoom dates? Is that what these two are doing? Like, cause they can't, like, if somebody would have to like leave their home base.
dude, you know that they're just catfishing each other. Like, as soon as Gollum gets that message, he's going to be like, oh, Gollum hasn't looked good in a decade. Like, Gollum hasn't got his head, and Gollum will just find Google attractive man real quick. This is just a placeholder. I'll fix it later. So he's like sending off photos of, I don't know, let's say Frodo to Ms. Havisham. And she's doing the exact same thing of like, well, listen, I know that I look good in this wedding dress, but I gotta tease it a little bit. I'm just gonna go ahead and Google attractive woman and send a few photos that way.
I think she's sending. I think she. Here's what I think. All right, okay. I'm getting ideas now. I think she starts this off first. Like the profile for her is not for her. It's for Estella, right? Is that her name?
Oh yeah, the little girl, right?
The girl that she adopts, who she's trying to like, you know, she's trying to like dupe all these men into falling for her, only to break their heart. And I think she intends for it to start this way. And then in striking up this conversation with Gollum, I think that's when it starts to like, she starts to fall for him.
Yeah, because she's crazy. And I think crazy definitely, and I have experience with this, with my own issues, like crazy attracts to crazy sometimes. So I could totally see her, trying to set this profile up, and she's just getting these DMs from Gollum that are like, oh, I'm just looking for someone to settle down with and get freaky, like just bouncing between the two personalities. And she's like, this seems wrong, but I'm kind of into it. Like, this is hitting a lot of receptors for me.
Okay. Yeah, I see it. I mean, that's just like... The question is, how does Gollum feel about being catfished?
I mean, he's psyched to have a fish. We know that. I mean, look, when you're locked away for, oh, don't you dare make fun of my puns or my shitty jokes, Zach. When you're locked away for that long, like, and I think we're all experiencing this a little bit in these trying times, you just want so desperately to believe in something good and something pure. So they both know, like at some intellectual level, both of these people know that like, this can't be real. This can't be as good as it seems. I did a reverse Google image search, and found that I'm being punked by this other person. But I just don't care. I just want to believe so badly at this point. So I think that they allow it to continue in that sense, that they're just willing to go back and forth, having these very like very delusional conversations where Gollum's like, so what are you into? And Haversham's like, definitely not planning revenge for 10 years. Never done that before. You, LOL. Smiley face, wink emoji, pizza. She doesn't know what she's doing.
But you know, Gollum, he at the end of the day, like he really just wants to put his finger in a hole.
Yeah, he's just trying to hit it and quit it. And that really is, Well, here's the question. He wants to just, maybe get there, but we know that he's extremely possessive. So by the end of this relationship, I'm wondering, not even the end of this relationship, I'm wondering if really quick does Gollum get very much like, after they've had 10 exchanges, he's telling like his reflection, me thinks I got a new girlfriend. Like, she's the one, you know? He's really going into it whole hog.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Gollum just like, he wants to be in it. But here, my big question for him is, can he even let somebody else in without fearing that they're going for his ring?
Oh.
She's subtly dropping hints of like, awfully nice ring that you had in your profile picture. Would love to see it on a finger someday, LOL. And then he's just like, what is she talking about? She wants to take it from me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be worried that he would never be able to trust. Gollum has deep-rooted trust issues.
And so does she.
Yeah, that's true. So it really becomes a question of like, okay, can these two fix each other? Or are they just so broken? Like, are they so broken that they're perfect together? Or is it just too explosive to even pan out in any sense?
I'm thinking it's too explosive to even pan out. It's like a couple of weeks of conversation online, and that's pretty much as far as it gets. As soon as he starts getting a sniff that she's like all about that, getting that ring on her finger, that's it for him.
Yeah. Gosh, I don't know, Zach. What are you
Gollum's
thinking on
end
this
up
one?
stabbing her.
Jesus.
Well, he tries to stab Frodo at one point, but like, I'm just saying, I don't think that Estella is gonna pull a Samwise and like save Miss Havisham. I think Miss Havisham's just gonna wind up getting stabbed by Gollum. Like, he sees her put on one of her rings, thinks it's his precious, and just goes for it. Just in the middle of the night, she wakes up dead.
Wakes up
it's
dead?
Turn phrase, Greg.
Jesus. Yeah. Oh, I get it.
Yeah, you know the way people do, waking up dead.
It certainly wouldn't be the darkest ending that we've ever had on
Not even
Ships
close.
in the Night.
My question, though, after that is, what does he do with the corpse?
Oh, God. He wears it like a fucking Buffalo Bill sort of situation.
He just like curls up next to it and cuddles. It's like kind of sweet if he hadn't just committed murder.
God, this is so rough. Can we have Gollum die too? Like, she's an old lady, but I feel like she would at least put up a fight. And he's pretty frail. Like, I don't think it would take much.
She's gonna be a lot bigger than him, so maybe he kills her, but she gets up in the moment and then collapses on top of him, pinning him to the ground. So, but he puts on his ring, trying to get away,
perfect.
and then he's invisible, so they never find him.
Okay, so doesn't she basically, she dies from like wounds from a fire, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So doesn't he eventually die from like
His body burns away in that fire.
Mordor?
Okay.
Oh, yes.
That's,
Okay, we're changing the story now because they plan to, like, Gollum is furiously chasing after the ring and texting her on OkCupid along the way, being like, "Oh, going to Mount Doom. Do you want to meet up?" And they are both, when they reach the pit of lava or whatever it is where the ring is supposed to be thrown in, they are both chasing after that ring so hard that Miss Havisham sees that ring and is like, "Listen, I gotta get me a husband." And so she chases after it. This is what happened in the original cut of Lord of the Rings. They were too much of a coward to put it in, but this is what happens is right as Gollum is jumping on Frodo's back, like trying to desperately claw away at that ring, a third character appears from the shadows, and that's Miss Havisham chasing after that ring, trying to lock it down and get her a man, and they both tumble into the fires of Mount Doom. So technically, Charles Dickens wasn't lying when he said that she died in a fire. She just died in the fires of Mount Doom.
You know
there
what?
We go.
Done. That's the story.
Done. I bet Tolkien was a big Dickens fan, so this all makes sense.
Yes.
And her last words on the way down are, "You looked taller in your profile."
You're not 6'1".
That was clearly in the bio. If not 6'1", do not message.
That's a real thing that people say. Anyway, so that's gonna wrap it up. Except for one question: do we ship it? Do we ship it? Do we want Miss Havisham and Gollum? I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say no. No, I don't ship it for a heartbeat. Neither of these characters are better off, and it is a train wreck of a relationship for the duration.
Yeah, it is truly a relationship that wouldn't work without any sort of modern communication tools. And, like, let's be real, I don't think that Gollum is going to be sending eagles over to Ms. Havisham like, "You up?" It doesn't work. I do not ship it. Nikki?
I want so much for happiness for these two people. They're so sad, but this is not the ship.
Yeah, it's tough. But hey, during these quarantine times, we all make mistakes. These times of isolation.
Greg, have you made some mistakes during quarantine?
We've all sent some late night DMs that we regret. So
Yes,
I think these are just a casualty of being cooped up too long.
Fair enough. And that's gonna.
It's fine, Greg. I didn't mind those DMs.
He's DMing you. Greg hasn't even DM'd me over the quarantine. I am hurt, Gregory. Well, I've never meant this more than with these two ships, but that's gonna close the book on this ship, but not on our episode, because we have one more segment. That's right, it's time to play Matchmaker here on Ships in the Night. It's time for Matchmaker. Nikki, you've brought a friend, a single friend from fiction that we here at Ships in the Night need to find love for. So who have you brought to our expert matchmaking panel?
I have brought my friend Dot Warner from the hit children's show Animaniacs. She is the youngest sister of this family of Yakko, Wacko, and Dot. And Dot's claim to fame is being very cute. Super cute. So we're looking for somebody that would be like interesting and be on her level, but also recognize and validate her cuteness at any possible moment.
All right. I mean, that's an important thing. Validation is important from a partner. You need support. You need a strong support system.
Yeah.
I think
100%.
that we have a couple of great options here. Greg, do you mind if I kick this one off? Here we go.
Lead it off, man.
See, I think you need somebody who embraces not only Dot's cuteness, but also her cartoony lifestyle and just ability to just like thrive and bring it to the next level. That's why I want to set her up with Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool, because I don't think there's anyone who could possibly be any zanier than the Warner brothers and sister than Deadpool himself. This guy will break through the corporate barriers to come over to the WB lot to meet up with the Animaniacs. And not only is Deadpool all about the cute things, I mean, you're talking about a guy who runs around with a Hello Kitty backpack, but he is one who supports love and just like exploring your personal sensuality and who you are to your core. No judgment in the Deadpool zone. Also, for the record, I am assuming that Dot has continued to age since the show and is now a 30-year-old.
Thank you for
I
clarifying.
checked the canon, and according to the internet, the Animaniacs aged over the course of their show. So while they've been off the air, I'm assuming they kept aging. 18 for the purpose of the podcast.
Yeah, Jesus, they got to be collecting Social Security at this point. My God.
She may be in her 30s, but she'll never tell.
Fair enough. Greg,
Zach, I got a little bit of an alternate
please
take, if
kick
you don't
it
mind.
off.
So Dot, yes, she is very cute, but also comedy master. And I think that that's something that's really important here. I'm going to cheat a little bit, and I'm going to pull someone else from the Warner Brothers universe. I'm going to pull, in fact, someone that is voiced by the same person. This is Tress MacNeille's other character, Babs Bunny from the Tiny Toons Adventures. Now, Babs, I think, would definitely respect the cuteness factor because she, in fact, is herself very cute. But also, these two are just a powerhouse comedy duo. Dot does more like sort of observational humors, like turns of phrases and that sort of thing. Meanwhile, Babs is all about impressions. She is going for like the lowest common denominator, like totally warms up the room, gets everybody in the mood to laugh. And then Dot comes in and like sort of zings everybody, So like these two work not only on a romantic level, but also a comedy
That's
level.
your time, Greg. I know you can't quite hear the music because we're in separate places because we're following the rules.
Yeah, normally I have it timed out so well, but oh God, I just have so much to say.
Well, Nikki, do you have any questions for us that we can help clarify for you? Because we want to set up Dot Warner with the best possible relationship. And right now, the options on the table, Deadpool or Babs Bunny. Do you have any questions before we enter the rebuttal round?
No questions. I've got some thoughts in here, but I'm gonna let y'all.
All right. I'll kick it off with the rebuttal. See, I think that Babs and Dot are too similar in essence. I think that they're both just like zany cartoon characters, and I think that you need somebody like Deadpool who's gonna take Dot's kind of a semi-violent zaniness and whack it to the next dimension, because I think that Dot has a lot of like bloodlust inside that she needs to let out, and no one's gonna teach her how to do that better than Deadpool. They're gonna just bathe in blood and love.
Okay, interesting take.
All right, Greg, kick it off.
Dot is, even as an older adult, not sexually compatible with Deadpool. Deadpool has said in many iterations that he is a fan of finger play, and we all know Dot's famous line that she would not finger Prince from one of her episodes. So just she's not willing to go there, and that's something that Deadpool needs, so it's not going to work out.
Wow, that's a pretty strong rebuttal.
Locked down tight.
I mean, it's very true. Deadpool is into pegging. Like, that's canon. That's not a question. So, Nikki, we presented you with two options to set up your friend Dot with: Deadpool or Babs Bunny. Who are you thinking?
You know, it feels like Deadpool feels a little like obvious because up until this point we have only known Dot to be heterosexual. But I think at the end of the day, like, there's something really intriguing about Babs, and I think it's one of those slow burns. Like, maybe it starts off as a you know, like a frenemies situation, and then they realize they're attracted to each other, and then it just works. And yeah, I'm going with Babs on this one.
I like it.
Mostly,
rivals on the comedy circuit turned into lovers.
It's
basically my dream come true.
They met.
See,
they
I
met
know my
going out
audience.
for mod teams.
Oh, I'm just a Dot looking for her Babs.
But only in LA. Yeah, I look, I'm not going to argue with it. You've got two wonderful cartoon characters. I took it to a weird, dark adult place that it didn't need to go. But I stand by it, even if it loses. Nikki, thank you so much for joining us this week on Ships in the Night.
Thank you for having me. This was a delight. I love.
This was so much fun and so weird. And thank you to those of you who joined us live in the chat, especially Candace Martellaro, former guest on the show, and Nomad Foy 42, probably one of our biggest fans, if not our biggest fan. Gaming with Cayman, the Pack Theater itself I saw was in there, Brother Wag, all you guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining. Nikki, if people want to keep up with you on the internet, where can they go?
On Twitter at tweets at toilets, Instagram.
Sorry, it gets me every time. I forgot. I forgot that was your handle for a second.
Tweets at toilets. Cause guess where I usually tweet? On a toilet. On Instagram at Urban Nikki. Urban like urban legend, Nikki like Adam Sandler's Little Nicky.
Greg, what about you? Where can everyone find you in this all internet era?
Sure thing. You can find me on the tweets at Greg Goodness. You can also find me performing when it's not under quarantine, occasionally at the Pack Theater in beautiful.
You
sunny
say that every
Hollywood,
time
California.
now, Greg, but you're performing at the Pack Theater right now, because if you're listening to this on podcast, you can continue to catch the show on Twitch at twitch.tv/Pack Theater, as well as so much good content. Seriously, some of the stuff that they've got coming up, depending on when you're watching this, listening to this, you need to stay in. So make sure you're following the Pack on Twitter and on Instagram, Pack Theater, and subscribe to the channel. It helps not only like keep our theater, literally keeping our theater alive, because the theater had to obviously shutter for the quarantine. So subscribe if you have Twitch Prime, or donate to our Venmo at Pack-Theater. It helps keep our lights on for once we get back to doing live shows. And seriously, check out the programming schedule. There's some amazing stuff coming down the pipeline. I've been Zach Wilson at that Zach Wilson. The podcast is at Shipping Pod on all the social medias. Until next time, guys, this has been Ships in the Night, casting off.